Hi. Um, I don't know if I have to, I don't know, declare trigger warning, or anything like that. I'm gonna be talking about anxiety attacks and panic attacks. So like sometimes I've noticed that I can be triggered in that way. Like if somebody starts talking about one, then I'm like, oh, I know what you're talking about, and it's about to happen because now I'm thinking about it. And sorry, my voice is a bit hoarse. I'm a little scared about that. So I got the flu shot on Friday morning, and I started to feel a little sick, but I thought it was just from the flu shot. Like I kind of had a headache, and I just felt, I don't know, a little woozy, I guess, but I didn't really think much of it. And that night my throat was hurting, and the next morning, yesterday morning, my throat hurt, and I was like, well, they supposedly the symptoms can last for a couple of days. And then this morning it was like really dry and it hurt. Well, I don't know, it just feels uncomfortable, and sometimes I cough. And I looked it up this morning, and it turns out that a sore throat is not a symptom of a flu shot. And I was like, oh fuck. So I looked up getting a COVID test, but it's a Sunday, so like nothing's open. The only thing that is open is like if you're asymptomatic, it's free and you can go, but if you are showing symptoms, then you have to like show your insurance card and stuff, and it's like that's weird. So anyway, the next opening is tomorrow, like at 12:15, and yeah, I'm almost positive it isn't COVID because I still have my taste and I don't have a fever, nothing like that. It's literally just this. So I'm fairly confident it's not that, but you never know. And I was supposed to get groceries today. I was going to try to beat the morning shit. But I decided no, there's going to be a lot of people because it's like the weekend before Thanksgiving, and it just feels very irresponsible. And also, like my last video, I rant and fucking rave about how Market Basket sucks, and I don't know if you believe in the opposite of manifesting, but the next day at work, there was a envelope on my desk with my name on it, and inside was this little slip that was like Happy Thanksgiving, and there was a gift card for Market Basket in there. And it's my first year working there, so I asked my coworker, like, hey, like, is this normal? Like, do they always do this? And she was like, yeah, they give out a gift card around Thanksgiving. And I was like, what? That's so nice. Like, do you know how much is on it? Because it didn't have an amount on the card. And she goes, I thought she said 15. So I don't know, I have this habit of repeating something. Like if somebody tells me something, I repeat it. And then she was like, no, 50. And I was like what? That's so fucking nice. I've literally never worked for a company that's treated me so well in my entire life. It's fucking bonkers. Like they actually care about me, and I'm not overworked like I have been at all my other jobs, and I'm paid what I should be paid. And yeah, if you're in a shitty position of work, here's your sign to like fucking apply. And if it means moving, just fucking do it, because there are better companies out there that will treat you better. Anyway, I'm getting so off topic. But the reason why I'm going to talk about this is because I've been struggling all of my life, but especially, recently, just because of everything that, has changed. Like, I had my first panic attack when I was in high school. And it was so stupid. The guy that I liked texted me, and oh fuck, I can't even believe I'm saying this. We were texting, and he knew I had a crush on him, which was sweet. And he wasn't flirty or anything like that. This whole thing is just so strange because I never in a million years would have ever told. It's just this whole thing. Anyway, this guy knew I had a crush on him, and he was actually very sweet about it. And But he was talking to somebody else at the time, which I didn't know, and he wasn't being flirty or manipulative in any sort of way. He was just being really nice. And he texted me, babe, like in a text, and I was like, I don't know why that just fucking sent me over. And I was already kind of panicking a little bit, and I was like, I'm very confused. I don't think he meant to do this, but even so, I'm just like genuinely like, what do I do? Like, this is confusing. And then he was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I meant to send that to somebody else. And then I was like sad and a little hurt, and it was just like so many emotions going through my head. I started hyperventilating, and it wouldn't stop. And my mom was like, what is happening? And I was like, it's so stupid. It lasted for hours. So that was the first time that I ever hyperventilated or had anything of a kind of panic attack. And that is the most innocent one that I've ever had in my life. I had the next one that I had, I was in college, and it was like my junior, senior semester, I don't remember, but that one was more serious, and that one really sucked. After that, I started getting them because I was stuck in this state of panic for a good while, and it's the first time that I ever reached out to a doctor and was like, hi, I need something because I can't eat and I can't sleep because I'm just stuck in this state of panic. And that had its benefits and, you know, also not benefits, because like I hated parts of what this medicine did to me, but at the same time it was really cool to just go to the grocery store and not overthink a goddamn thing. That was fantastic, and that really opened my eyes to what life is like when your brain isn't telling you all of the things that you can't do. So that was interesting, and it's why I am the way that I am today. But yeah, I've dealt with them, and they suck. And the reason why I'm even mentioning any of this right now is because Emma Chamberlain came out with a video today, and she came out with a podcast a couple of weeks ago, but just saying that, like, she's been going through thoughts of like just existential dread and not being able to get out of it, and having panic attacks. And it's just like, I'm literally okay, she was in Boston recently, and I just thought it was so funny because she, in her video, she was like, I'm in Boston, I don't know why I'm here. And I was like, dude, same. And it was just like very interesting, and almost like I don't know, like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Because you're just like going to cities you've never been to with no plan, and you're just like kind of living life, which, and it's not bad, but at the same time it's like you have to recognize that something is wrong here, you know. And then I don't know, I thought it was so funny. I literally, I was in that swing of things where I was literally just like dissociating at work like all day long, and I couldn't get out of it. And you know, when that happens multiple days in a row, you just like, you do start losing it. And that day that, like, on my lunch break, I just went and got gas just to like fucking do something, just to get my head out of it. And, you know, I had like a half tank of gas. I didn't need gas. I just like needed to do something. And then like a couple days later, she posted a video where she's literally doing the exact same thing. She sits in her car and she's like, I'm gonna go get gas, and I don't need it, but I'm gonna do it. It's just like living alone, there is a glory in it, because I do like living alone, I really do. But it's not easy. It is not easy. So I've been having panic attacks. I haven't had one in a little while, which is good, but when I start to have them, they come in waves, and it's like I'll have one one day, and then I'll have one 2 days later, and then I'll have one 3 days later, and then I'll have one 2 hours later, and then 5 days later, and then 1 hour later and then 6 hours later. Like it's very strange. It's a very weird roller coaster. But I don't take medicine anymore because I don't want to. I didn't like it. You know, that might have just been because of the medicine that I had, but at the time things were just so unstable in my life that like going in trying to get used to a medicine just I didn't think would be good for me. So I stopped. And anyway, that's not to say that medicine wouldn't work for you. Like, you talk to the doctor, you figure it out, whatever works best. But like, it hits me when I'm cooking, like when I'm trying to be productive and I'm trying to do something, when I'm trying to not just sit on the floor, like I'm doing something. That's when it hits me. And it's almost always when I'm cutting vegetables. And I don't know why. I think like Sylvia Plath has something to do with that. But it's just like, I don't know why, if because it's so mundane or because it's in that moment that I realize how little everything matters, you know, just all over again. And I remember that I'm alone, and I remember that nobody's here with me. Nobody knows what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what I do right now if nobody's there to see it. It's just like a very strange frame of thinking, and then I get stuck in that, and I can't get out of it. For the life of me, I can't get out of it. And I just sort of let it take me, and it starts in my abdomen, and it grows from there, like through the rest of my body. And it's awful. And then eventually I'm like on the floor and I'm kind of heaving and like I'm trying to like remember like this is real. This is a floor. I am here. This is my name and I moved here and everything's fine and it sucks, but it's okay. And sometimes I can get myself out of it before I even get to that point where like I'm cuddled on the floor and like trying to breathe. But even then it's hard because I feel it in my abdomen and it's like everything wants to curl up and like I'm trying to not let that happen. And so I'll make myself keep going, and it's like my arms are curved in and I'm trying to get these vegetables and like put them in the pan and like just keep going, just keep going, like don't, but it's hard. The other time that it happens, and this is when it is very scary, is it's when I'm driving. It's when I'm on my way home. And that really sucks. It's because like, and it can happen out of nowhere. It most recently happened when I was listening to, I put on like an Eminem radio just because, I don't know, I was trying to like feel something different, I guess. And the playlist was very interesting. There was like Linkin Park, and there was, God, who else was on there? The Black Eyed Peas. God, I can't remember who else. Eminem, of course. There was some Akon. It was a cool, fun playlist. And like one of the songs that came on, there was like a traffic jam. There had been an accident, and so there was a lot of traffic, but it was totally cool because I was just jamming in my car. And How to Love by Lil Wayne came on, and yeah, I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. And I was just straight jamming. And for some reason, at the end of the song, it all hit me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because, like, I've been listening to this song since I was in middle school, and it's a great song. And I remember, you know, just, like, the fact that when I was 12, I was listening to this exact same recording. And here I am, so many years later, still doing that. The song is also kind of very vibey, and it's just like, and also the context of it is like talking about a woman who's grown up and she never knew how to love. Like, it was a lot to take in. But the other thing that happens is like when I'm driving home, it's dark and it's just trees all around me. And Massachusetts doesn't believe in streetlights, so it's all just lit up by cars' headlights, and it's like all I see are numbers and letters from the license plates, and it's just trees, and then it's the same dash in the road, and it's just me in my car, and I'm like, what am I doing? What is this? That I'm alive and that I'm abiding by these traffic laws and that I'm on my way home from work, and so is everybody else, and we're all just like in this stupid system. And for what? Like, what is this? What is this life? Like, how am I, like, what? And it's just like, God, it's awful. It's so awful. It fucking sucks. You know, and then I start panicking. And it is a little, I just go through these breathing exercises, and at the end of it, it is okay. I never feel so in danger that I can't drive. But I do panic, and it sucks. So, hearing this other person on the other side of the world, somebody else who lives alone, dealing with these same thoughts, it just like, it's comforting. It's so strange in how comforting it is to know that you're not alone in that. Yeah, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to not feel that way anymore. And I don't think there really is a way to never feel like that. You just have to keep going. You know, and I'm going to go over some of the things that have actually really helped me over the last week and a half or so. There's not much data to go on because it's literally just been 10 days that I've felt better, but I don't know, maybe it is working. But there was one more thing that I wanted to touch on, and it was that, you know, I'm finding comfort in Emma Chamberlain talking about this stuff because I'm going through it too, and I don't know how to articulate it. And like, I talk to my friends on the phone, and I'm trying to be like, yeah, it's really cool up here, but also I'm struggling. This is hard, and like, I don't know how to get across the severity of like how hard it is. But the other thing that I have found a massive comfort in, and I feel like so strange to even say, I don't know why I feel so nervous talking about it. I think just because it resonated with me so much. It's like, okay, so obviously inside exists, and that's something that has really helped me as I've moved. Because it's something that came out literally right when, like, before I knew I was moving. So Inside came out, I think May 31st. I think that's right. I watched it the following day, so June 1st. At the time, I'd already had my first 2 interviews with the job that I have now. And I had already gotten the plane ticket and everything for the 3rd interview, which was the in-person interview. That was, I think that was like June 8th or June 9th or something. But anyway, I'm watching this thing. And at the time, I'm sincerely wondering, like, am I actually going to do this? Like, am I actually going to move? Like, what? Like, that was never in the plan. Like leaving the city I grew up in was the plan. Boston was never the plan. I didn't know jack shit about Boston. I didn't care for Boston in the slightest. Like, what the... I don't give a fuck. Here we are. But, yeah, at the time, I was just like, am I really doing this? And then I was watching Inside. I was completely blown away. I did not know what I was getting into. And at the time, I wasn't a fan of Bo Burnham, his stand-up, like, at all. The only reason I watched it was because another friend of mine was raving about how this thing was coming out, and he's such a big fan, and it's just like this cool thing because he's doing it in his like home and whatever. And I was like, who is that? And he was like, he's that comedian that blah 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 blah. And it's like, oh, I've tried watching him, I don't like it. I end up just falling asleep. And then they were like, yeah, and he directed 8th grade, and it was like full record stop. And I was like, what? Because like, I fucking loved 8th grade, and yeah, that's all I have to say. I absolutely loved it, and that's why I watched it. So it was like, okay, this is the guy that made something that truly resonated with me. And so yeah, that I watched it, and then, you know, there's that one lyric where it's like, tiny town in Massachusetts. And I was like, okay, I'll take that as a sign. Like, all right, universe, I didn't ask for it, but okay. And anyway, a month later, I ended up moving, something like a month and a half later. And so at the time that came out, I was already struggling. I've just always been struggling with my mental health and all that good shit. But I was listening to this album a lot, and I was listening to it a lot at work, and now it's like I don't know, it's like a cleanser for me, like a palate cleanser when I'm shifting in between musical modes. I just like listen to this album for like a day and a half straight. It's ridiculous and just really weird. But I think the reason why I'm finding it easy to listen to is because I have a little movie in my head playing at the same time, and it's somebody just dealing with their fucking anxiety, which is what I'm doing all day, every day. And so when I moved, I was still kind of latching on to that, just like trying to find a way to feel grounded in something. And so there were a few times that like I follow a lot of like movie critic people on on YouTube. So of course they're talking about Inside, and I'd watched a couple of them, and because I did that, Instagram, YouTube was like, here are all of these interviews with Bo Burnham and all of this shit, and I was like, I probably shouldn't do that. I should just stick to watching Inside again and again and again. And then I finally did watch one where it was like a director's table thing. I don't remember what that channel's called. But I watched it, and I felt it was just bizarre. I was like, okay, I'll watch this. I recognize John Krasinski. I hope I said that right. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And I was blown away, absolutely blown away, by how much of myself I saw in this man just like sitting at a table. Because he makes himself seem so small, and like everything is like hunched over, looking down. And I think the looking down part comes from just like being overstimulated and getting easily distracted, so you're just like listening to everything audibly. I do that sometimes, where like if I don't understand something, or if I didn't catch it the first time, I like close my eyes or I look down. Like I just try to focus on what I'm hearing, and it makes more sense that way. And it was just like those little things like that was like, okay, like I see the anxiety here. I don't know, it just freaked me out, like how much of myself I saw just watching that. So YouTube was just like, here's these interviews with Bo Burnham and Elsie Fisher and anxiety and the world today. And I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. So I started watching, just like, I would just do one. And then YouTube would be like, oh, here's 5 more. And I'd be like, dude, like there's so many of these. But at the time I was really going through it, and that's when I wasn't having any human-to-human conversations with any single person. I was losing my mind. And I wasn't talking to anybody. I had no connection anywhere, and it was really hard. And then I just had this plethora of videos, literally of just like this man who has anxiety, and I can watch him like literally as he has his anxiety, like all of that, talking about his anxiety. And the only reason he's talking about his anxiety is because he made this thing out of dealing with his anxiety about a character that has anxiety. And it's just like like I can't tell you how comforting all of that was. Because also, like, I'd never been more aware of, like, how much I touch my own face when I talk. Or, like, my leg bouncing, which actually it's doing right now. The getting distracted, the being overstimulated, the looking down, like, just all of that. Like, I'm seeing that, and I've never been more self-aware. And not in a bad way. Like, it's just, like, been very nice to, like, hear. I don't know. Like, it's so comforting. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, I went down a very big rabbit hole. Because, like, at this, I had a lot to watch. Like, there was just so many of these interviews. I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, that was another one. That was another quality. It's like, what? I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Like, I literally can't ever hold on to a single thought. Anyway, so like then I learned a lot of what I do is anxiety, which I didn't recognize. I thought that was just me being weird. But yeah, and so it's just been extremely comforting. And I guess I finished most of the interviews. YouTube started showing me just random interviews that didn't have to do with 8th grade, like with Bo Burnham. And the most recent one was like a podcast. And it was really funny, like, I mean, overall, but it's in that podcast, he was telling somebody like, oh, you should watch this documentary about this like inventor who tries to repaint a veneer? I don't remember. And so I was like, you know what? I don't have anything to do, and I'm bored, and nothing makes me happy anymore. Like, why don't I just watch this random fucking thing? And this documentary was so cool, and yeah, it was fascinating, and it like woke me up a little bit. It was like here's this guy in San Antonio, which also shouts out to San Antonio, who's very rich and who is fascinated by lighting and optics, and this painter, and he recreates a veneer, I don't remember what it was, but so that was also very comforting, because it was something different. It was something I don't know, but I was watching these and I was like, why can't I, like, he made something out of his anxiety about just trying to deal with the world, and like, why can't I do that? Like, not to say that I'm gonna direct A24's next award-winning film, but like, why can't I just make something, like, just even if it's just for myself, like, why can't I just do that? So I tried to write a song, like actually really try to write one, and I started building it off of my poems. I picked up some of the stuff that I'd been trying to consolidate into like an actual book. I don't know if I'll ever finish that, but I went off that and I was like, okay, I have an idea, and I wanted it to be like with like I wanted basically I'm trying, okay, like I'm literally just, I like the vibe that I get from Come Back to Earth by Mac Miller, and from Right Where It Belongs by the Nine Inch Nails, and like I know that's like, they're both very different, but also they're not. Like, I like the feel of it. They're both very slow, and they're almost like poetry, like in the way that the lyrics are said. I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say, but they have a very similar feel to me. And one of them talks largely about anxiety and loneliness, and just like sort of self, what's that word? Deprecation? I don't know if that's the right word. But, and then also just with like existentialism and self-awareness, and that's kind of the vibe I was going for. So I was trying to find influence in that, and then I looked up the chords, and it turns out they're kind of the same. I hope I'm saying that right. It's like one is an F major, one is a D minor, I think, and if you like play them, they're like the same keys, I think. I hope to God I'm not wrong. So I was trying to do that, and I was finding it difficult to do on the piano, so then I tried doing it on a guitar, and then I ended up just playing basically bass on a guitar, and I was like, oh, this is why everyone says everyone can play bass. It's so easy. I'm such an asshole. Don't quote me on that. It's not easy. But, god damn it. Um, yeah, I was challenging myself in this way, and it was exciting and it was new. I started talking to somebody. That's something else that's helped, and I feel a little strange saying that. I started talking to someone like from Bumble, and that's comforting too. Like just meeting somebody new and asking them about, you know, their family, and like, I don't know, just like getting yourself out of your head in more ways than one. Like really challenging your brain and your mind to like do different things. I picked up a chessboard again, and I'm trying to like actually learn how to play the Caro-Kann, like actually focusing on it, and not just like watching somebody else play it. You know, and I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like I saw this video that Emma Chamberlain just put out, and like, I don't know, I'm right there with her. It's hard. It's hard keeping this stupid thing in your head stimulated. But it's meant to, your brain's meant, like, it can't help it. It wants to solve something. You just have to find that thing that it likes to solve. And so chess has helped immensely for me. I can always just open up chess.com and do a puzzle. I'm too anxious to play real people. But they have robots on them that you can play. Try writing a song. Like, try doing something fucking crazy and random like that guy did. He's an inventor, and he just like tried painting a veneer, and he basically did it. You know? There's some kind of a puzzle that your brain likes. Maybe even just doing a regular puzzle. I can't do them because I get too hooked on them. I've never been really interested in them, but I did one once like 3 years ago. And I started it like at 8 p.m. and I didn't stop until I finished at like 3:30 in the morning. So like I can't do puzzles. But literally it's just like not just painting something, but applying your brain to actually paint it. Like tracing out stuff, like taking your time with it, picking a palette, all that good shit. Like baking something new, don't just mindlessly pick something and do it. Like really focus on it. I think that's the big difference. It's just like really applying this thing that's in your head to what you're doing. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. I did end up getting furniture because I'm psychotic, but it worked out very well. I'm very happy with it. I still have a little bit more to go through, and I'm very exhausted from heaving furniture up to my apartment from yesterday. Yeah, I don't have anything else. I just will say it's probably a very good thing that I'm not going home for Thanksgiving because I am sick. So I guess that worked out. But yeah, this whole thing's just crazy and scary, and I spent my birthday alone this year, and I'm gonna spend Thanksgiving alone, and I'm gonna spend Christmas alone, and yeah, I'm terrified and I'm sad about it, but at the same time, like, nothing matters. There is a comfort in that, I think. Alright, well, I'm gonna stop talking now and go rest, and I hope all of that made sense and was worth saying. It'll get better. It's a roller coaster. It always has to go up at some point, and yeah, it'll come back down a bit. Bye.